The Welcome to America project brings furniture and household items specifically to newly arriving refugee families. And in doing so, we always ask the family to tell their story because each story is a little different, and we want them to be able to bring their story here to us so we can understand what they've gone through. So that's the give and take. We're giving them furniture and household items, but they're giving us something too. They're giving us the value of the experience that they had in the country that they came from. In a lot of situations, they'll share their culture with us in some way, whether it's food or the language or conversation. So it's a good way for us to be a community again here. And I think that's something else that we're doing. It's not just furniture and household items, it's community building. And multi-generational too, because the whole family can go, and there's not a lot of things that the whole family can do together like that.
What has been your favorite food in America?
Pizza!
And how long have you been here? When did you come to Phoenix? Almost a month and a half, okay. It's very hot here, yes? How does that compare to Kenya? Is it hotter in Kenya, or is this hotter? Kenya is not hot. This is much hotter, yes?
The Welcome to America project started at my dining room table one morning in October. So it was about a month after my brother-in-law was killed in the Trade Center. And I opened the Scottsdale Tribune newspaper, and the front page had a picture of an Afghan family on the front. And it drew me in right away because of the fact that my brother-in-law was killed and that a number of the individuals who were considered the terrorists that took those planes down had trained in Afghanistan. This is my first experience with that country at all, really. Hadn't even thought about it in my life. But this family on the front was very compelling because the woman had 4 kids and she was pregnant with her 5th, and I have 5 kids. So that drew me right in, and then I read the story about how they had to flee their country because of the Taliban, and a family member had been murdered from that experience in that country, and I identified immediately. You know, the fact that they were Afghan and I was American went away, and I started thinking about what that would feel like to leave when you had little kids and you had a family member murdered and you had to run outside of your country and you couldn't go back. But then there's another chapter for them. They finally made it to the United States, and then 9/11 happened. And my heart went out to them, and I thought maybe part of our healing process with the loss of my brother-in-law would be to reach out to that family and connect. And so I called the newspaper, and the newspaper connected me to the International Rescue Committee, and that's how I found out about the family. And then we just started taking up a collection to bring to them to alleviate any of their worry, I think, to help them feel like they were welcome, like a welcome wagon. My brother-in-law was a very, very generous person, and was one of those people that would help anybody, anytime. So it was a nice way to mirror how I saw him, to be generous with other people.
It's been so long since I've been on a delivery. I'm the founder of the Welcome to America project, and these are my 5 children and my adopted neighbor who's at our house all the time. So this is Philip in the back, Olivia, they're twins, Claire, Camille right here close to me, and Madeline. And so Madeline was 1 when I started the Welcome to America project. So she's been, of my 5, she's probably been on the most deliveries, and definitely the most home visits. Back then, we visited every family before we went on deliveries. So I, every week, would take her, put her in a car seat, and we would drive out to these apartment complexes and meet the families and hear their stories and figure out what they needed. And then it just kind of evolved from there. So I guess I can't believe it, but we're 15 years later. And so I wanted to be here today with my kids just to honor that. And it's very cool that you're here. It's very, very, very exciting for me that the project is still going on.
For me, it wasn't so much helping refugees at that moment. It was connecting with that family, really. It was helping that family feel welcome in Arizona. And when I got there, the apartment complex was to me like the United Nations. There were people coming out of their units who were looking around at us because they didn't know why this family was getting helped or who we were. People who were strangers to me were walking up to me asking me who I was, what we were doing, and I saw insides of apartments that were empty, and I saw a lot more need. And so I thought, wow, there's a lot more people, a lot more families. Again, it went right to that we're just families helping families. They were refugees, but to me they were people that just needed a place to start a life again. And I thought that would be something that we could do. I think the legacy of the Welcome to America Project is that it's the community answering the call to balance the hatred from 9/11 and any other terrorist event that's happened after that. I just have a lot of good memories of meeting a lot of different people and seeing a lot more similarities than I saw differences. I wish that people can also see the same thing. More similarities than differences in this world. I can't think of anything else that I want to say except for I'm just grateful for every single person that I have and haven't met who's been involved in this project, who's gone on delivery, who's made a donation, who's called to encourage all the people involved with this project. I'm just so grateful that it's still going on after 15 years. It's a legacy for me, and I don't know how it happened, but I've been lucky enough to be in the driver's seat from the beginning, and I've been able to pass it on to other people who've continued that drive, and I'm just very, very happy. Very happy. Thank you to everybody who's been involved.
My name's Carolyn Manning, and I'm the founder of the Welcome to America Project, and these are my children.
15 years of the Welcome to America Project!